Why do you think the clients asked you to design their house?
That is because they saw this house that we designed for ourselves, and they liked the fact that the garden forms part of the house, that you could actually see what is in reality quite a small garden. The interior glass walls of the house face onto this garden, and they liked that approach, and they said we would like to have something similar where we would like to build, and as you have already built a modern house in this area, perhaps you'd like to build this one. So that's how Woodland came into being, or how it started.
You must have explained to them that it wasn't going to be a replica.
Well, exactly. No architecture it should be a replica of another building. And especially, it's a small domestic house, so it had to relate first of all to where it was, which is quite different to this house.
It seems to me that what you're interested in is how things go together, and that nothing is a single statement. It's composed of a number of components. Would you like to say something about that?
Well, obviously, I designed both Woodland and its surroundings, its garden. And to me, they're both very important. The garden is not only a transition from the conservation area to the house, but also it is something that the occupants of the house, the clients, live with all the time, that it's very open to its surroundings. So those surroundings form a component of everyday life within those buildings. And this is very important. And that's why the garden was designed very specifically to go with the house. And if you look very carefully at the structure, it's very simple around the house, but it's more formal and more geometric close to the building. And as you go further away from the building, these dissolve into surrounding natural landscape. So this link between nature, if you like, and the built environment are very important.
It's interesting. You often say that the work that you do seeks to be more than the sum of its parts, but at the same time you're saying it is the sum of its parts.
Well, I'm afraid there's a bit of magic in there. It's very hard to predict, but this is what your aim is, to provide what is required, what is needed, and go above and beyond that.
And I think your experience has been that unless what you ask for is delivered accurately, the meaning that you seek to convey can't be conveyed.
That's right. It's conveyed through very minimal means. So everything you do has a meaning, if you like, and is very deliberate. And in the case of Woodland, very, very restrained and minimal. So it carries a lot of weight. You don't have much time to be extraneous to this.
Right. But because what you do is a sum of the things that you design and put together, it appears to be very difficult for you if somebody says, could you just change that?
Yes, everything, well, as a designer, everything goes together. So as you know, you change one part of a building, you have to change another. That's how it works.
But another thing that seems to me to be tough for somebody who comes originally from the theatre is that the whole process takes so damn long.
Well, it's a completely different world. So compared to theatre, it runs in slow motion. And it's a completely different time scale. So as a designer, you work with a very different structure. But the purpose is still the same. The purpose is to take the person living in the building or the person sitting in the audience of a theatre show and to allow them to forget where they come from and to be completely plugged in to where they are or what's in front of them.
Isn't it rather exasperating to discover that you come from a world where this process is so well understood, all people are drilled in what is needed to produce the final result, and you come into a world where none of that has been thought about, and consequently it's very hard to get them to respond with the alacrity and accuracy that you're accustomed to.
Well, I think I was very lucky to begin designing the theatre because the theatre isn't possible without the collaboration of very many people. It's something you can't do by yourself. And everybody works towards an opening night or a deadline. And so they're very excited and fueled by this process. When you come to a building, it's harder to disconnect the process in front of them from everyday life.